Continuing the book of Exodus in the Jerusalem Bible. Chapter 9. The fifth plague, death of the Egyptians' livestock. Then Yahweh said to Moses, "Go to Pharaoh and say to him, 'This is the message of Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews. Let my people go to offer me worship. If you refuse to let them go and detain them any longer, you will find that the hand of Yahweh will fall on your livestock in the fields, horse and donkey and camel, herd and flock, with a deadly plague. Yahweh will discriminate between the livestock of Israel and of Egypt. Nothing shall die of all that belongs to the sons of Israel. Yahweh has fixed the hour. Tomorrow, he has said, Yahweh will carry out this threat in all the land." Next day, Yahweh kept his word. All the Egyptians' livestock died, but none owned by the sons of Israel died. Pharaoh had inquiries made, but it was true. None was dead of the livestock owned by the sons of Israel. But Pharaoh became adamant again and did not let the people go. The sixth plague, the boils. Yahweh said to Moses and Aaron, "Take handfuls of soot from the kiln, and before the eyes of Pharaoh let Moses throw it into the air. It shall spread like fine dust over the whole land of Egypt and bring out boils that break into sores on man and beast all over the land of Egypt." So they took soot from the kiln and stood in front of Pharaoh, and Moses threw it into the air. And on man and beast it brought out boils, breaking into sores. And the magicians could not face Moses, because the magicians were covered with boils like all the other Egyptians. But Yahweh made Pharaoh's heart stubborn, and, as Yahweh had foretold, he refused to listen to him. The seventh plague, the hail. Then Yahweh said to Moses, "Get up early in the morning and present yourself to Pharaoh. Say to him, 'This is the message of Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews. Let my people go to offer me worship. This time I mean to send all my plagues on you and your courtiers and your subjects, so that you shall learn that there is no one like me in the whole world. Had I stretched out my hand to strike you and your subjects with pestilence, you would have been swept from the earth. But I have let you live for this, to make you see my power and to have my name published throughout all the earth. High-handed with my people still, you will not let them go. Tomorrow, therefore, at about this time, I will let fall so great a storm of hail as was never known in Egypt from the day of its foundation. So now have your livestock and everything that is yours in the fields put under cover. On man and beast, on all that remains in the fields is not brought indoors, the hail will fall and they will die." Some of Pharaoh's courtiers, terrified by Yahweh's threat, brought their slaves and livestock indoors. But those who disregarded Yahweh's threat left their slaves and livestock in the fields. Yahweh said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand toward heaven so that hail may fall on the whole land of Egypt, on man and beast and all that grows in the fields in the land of Egypt." Moses stretched out his staff towards heaven, and Yahweh thundered and rained down hail. Lightning struck the earth. Yahweh rained down hail on the land of Egypt. The hail fell, and lightning flashing in the midst of it, a greater storm of hail than had ever been known in Egypt since it first became a nation. Throughout the land of Egypt, the hail struck down everything in the fields, man and beast. It struck all the crops in the fields, and it shattered every tree in the fields. Only in the land of Goshen, where the Hebrews lived, was there no hail. Pharaoh sent for Moses and Aaron. This time, he said, I admit my fault. Yahweh is in the right. I and my subjects are in the wrong. Entreat Yahweh to stop the thunder and the hail. I promise to let you go, and you shall stay here no longer. Moses answered him, the moment I leave the city, I will stretch out my hands to Yahweh. The thunder will stop, and there will be no more hail, so that you may know that the earth belongs to Yahweh. But as for you and your courtiers, I know very well that you have no fear yet of Yahweh our God. The flax and the barley were ruined, since the barley was in the ear, and the flax budding. The wheat and the spelt, being late crops, were not destroyed. Moses left Pharaoh and went out of the city. He stretched out his hands to Yahweh, and the thunder and the hail stopped, and the rain no longer poured down on the earth. When Pharaoh saw that rain and hail and thunder had stopped, he sinned yet again. He became adamant, he and his courtiers. The heart of Pharaoh was stubborn, and as Yahweh had foretold through Moses, he did not let the sons of Israel go. The eighth plague, the locusts. Then Yahweh said to Moses, go to Pharaoh, for it is I who have made his heart and his courtiers stubborn, so that I can work these signs of mine among them, so that you can tell your sons and your grandsons how I made fools of the Egyptians and what signs I performed among them, to let you know that I am Yahweh. So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh. They said to him, this is the message of Yahweh, the God of the heaven, of the Hebrews. How much longer will you refuse to submit to me? Let my people go to offer me worship. If you refuse to let my people go, then tomorrow I will send locusts over your country. They shall cover the surface of the soil so thick that the soil will not be seeded. They shall devour the remainder that is left to you, all that is survived from the hail. They shall devour all your trees growing in the fields. They shall fill your palaces, the houses of your courtiers, the houses of all the Egyptians. Your forefathers and their ancestors have never seen the like since first they lived in the country. Then Moses turned away and left Pharaoh's presence. And Pharaoh's courtiers said to him, how much longer is this man to be the cause of our trouble? Let the people go to offer worship to Yahweh their God. Do you not understand that Egypt is now on the brink of ruin? So Moses and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh. You may go, he said to them, and offer worship to Yahweh your God. But who are to go? We shall take our young men and our old men, Moses answered. We shall take our sons and daughters, our flocks and our herds, because for us it is a feast of Yahweh. May Yahweh be with you if ever I let you and your little ones go. Pharaoh retorted, it is plain that you are up to no good. Oh no, you men may go and offer worship to Yahweh, since that is what you wanted. And with that they were dismissed from the presence of Pharaoh. Then Yahweh said to Moses, stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt to bring the locusts. Let them invade the land of Egypt and devour all its green stuff, all that the hail has left. Over and over the land of Egypt, Moses stretched his staff, and Yahweh brought up an east wind over the land, and it blew all day and night. By morning, an east wind. By morning, the east wind had brought the locusts. The locusts invaded the whole land of Egypt. On the whole territory of Egypt they fell, in numbers so great that such swarms had never been seen before, nor would be again. They covered the surface of the soil till the ground was black with them. They devoured all the green stuff in the land and all the fruit of the trees that the hail had left. No green was left on tree or plant in the fields throughout the land of Egypt. Pharaoh sent urgently for Moses and Aaron. "I have sinned against Yahweh your God," he said, "and against yourselves. Forgive my sin. I implore you this once, and entreat Yahweh your God just to rid me of this deadly plague." So Moses left Pharaoh's presence and interceded with Yahweh. Then Yahweh made the wind veer till it blew so strongly from the west that it caught up the locusts and carried them off towards the Sea of Reeds. There was not one locust left in the whole land of Egypt. But Yahweh made Pharaoh's heart stubborn, and he did not let the sons of Israel go. The ninth plague, the darkness. Then Yahweh said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand towards heaven, and let darkness so thick that it can be felt, cover the land of Egypt." So Moses stretched out his hand toward heaven, and for 3 days there was deep darkness over the whole land of Egypt. No one could see anyone else or move about for 3 days. But where the sons of Israel lived, there was light for them. Pharaoh summoned Moses. "Go and offer worship to Yahweh," he said. "But your flocks and herds must remain here. Your children may go with you too." Moses replied, "But you must let us have means of offering sacrifice and holocausts to Yahweh our God. Our livestock too must go with us. Not one head of cattle must be left behind. It must be from our livestock that we provide for the worship of Yahweh our God until we reach the place. We do not know ourselves what worship we shall have to offer Yahweh." But Yahweh made Pharaoh's heart stubborn, and he refused to let them go. Pharaoh said to Moses, "Out of my sight! Take care, never appear before me again, for on that day you do, you die." Moses replied, "You yourself have said it. Never again shall I appear before you." Moses proclaims the death of the firstborn. Then Yahweh said to Moses, "One disaster more I shall bring on Pharaoh and on Egypt, just one. After this he will let you go from here. Indeed, he will drive you out. Instruct the people that every man is to ask his neighbor, every woman hers, for silver ornaments and gold." And Yahweh gave the people prestige in the eyes of the Egyptians, while Moses himself was a man of great importance in the land of Egypt, and of high prestige with Pharaoh's courtiers and with the people. Moses said, "This is Yahweh's message. Towards midnight I shall pass through Egypt. All the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, heir to his throne, to the firstborn of the maidservant at the mill, and all the firstborn of the cattle. Throughout the land of Egypt there shall be such a wailing as never was heard before, nor will be again. But against the sons of Israel, against man or beast, never a dog shall bark, so that you may know that Yahweh discriminates between Egypt and Israel. Then all these courtiers of yours will come down to me and bow low before me and say, 'Go away, you and all the people who follow you.' After this I shall go." And, hot with anger, Moses left Pharaoh's presence. Then Yahweh said to Moses, "Pharaoh will not listen to you, so that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt." All these wonders Moses and Aaron worked in the presence of Pharaoh. But Yahweh made Pharaoh's heart stubborn, and he did not let the sons of Israel leave his country.